What is going on, guys, and welcome back to the Intelligent Money Investing channel. About a week ago, I made a video about why I hate ETF investing. So today I'm going to go through the reasons why I love ETF investing and why I think it's one of the best ways to grow your money long term and one of the safer ways to do it as well. Before we get into that, I want to say thank you guys for all the support on the recent videos, and let's go for 20 likes on this video. That'd be absolutely awesome. And leave a comment down below with your thoughts on ETF investing, what you think the risks are and what you think the benefits are. I would just want to kind of compare and contrast how you guys feel about it, maybe talk about it against an index fund, anything like that. Now let's get into this. So you guys know my portfolio is very ETF heavy, as you guys can see. We have been getting slammed lately over the last couple weeks, basically. Really bad week in the market, let down 5.5%. That's pretty brutal. But as you guys can see, most of my top positions are in ETFs, and then I have a bunch of individual stock shares here. But I'm definitely most heavy into these ETFs that we can see from OUSA all the way to VOO. They're all ETFs. So I really like it as an avenue going forward, and let's go through my reasons. So number one is going to be liquidity. So an important thing when you're owning an asset is having liquidity with that asset, but also using that liquidity responsibly. So in the last video, I talked about how liquidity can be seen as a good thing or a bad thing, and talked about the bad aspect. The bad aspect is basically when you have bad temperament and not very much patience in the market, you might have this week like last week where we lose 5.5% in the market, and you're like, wow, this is too risky for me. I'm going to get my money out now. When there's a good chance we have a bounce back coming soon, because we really have had a buy the dip market for as long as I've been here, and we'll see if that continues. But when liquidity can be a good thing is something like owning ETFs versus owning like a house or real estate, something like that. When you own a real estate, you're not able to sell out of that asset very quickly because you have to find a buyer rather than just being able to sell instantly to the market. You have to find a buyer to match up with, pay fees, and you're probably going to lose a few percent paying realtors, closing costs, stuff like that. It's a really expensive and time-consuming process to be able to trade in and out of real estate. Like stocks is not. I can sell any of my shares at any point during market hours with a couple clicks of the mouse, and I'm out of that position. I'm into cash. Like I said, it can be used well or poorly, but it's definitely a benefit of having a stock against something like real estate or more of a material asset. Even something like gold, you still have to find a marketplace for and a good place to sell it at a good value, rather than just having a base market price, and that's what you're going to get. Number two is going to be diversity. So when you have a ETF, you basically have a basket of stocks rather than just one individual stocks. Like I could either put my money into the S&P 500 or I could choose my favorite stock or stocks to put it into, and you have a much higher exposure to the individual shares to individual companies when you're owning individual shares rather than an ETF. An ETF is going to give you diversity across the whole market, while an individual share of a stock is going to give you 100%, like all your focus is going to be on that stock. So I prefer to have a little more diversity because I don't know the most about stock picking, and I'd rather spend my time trying to get some more income and be able to put more money into my portfolio rather than spending all my time reading about the best opportunities in the market these days, because they're pretty hard to find with these high levels we're at right now. Number three, they're going to be good long term and fairly safe long term. I'm going to talk about these two together, my last two. So ETFs, when you're thinking about the long term, there could be companies that go down, could go bankrupt, kind of come out of favor. Maybe you're it was a real not like a realtor or something like that, like a Toys R Us you were invested in, so stuff like that. Those have been going down over the long term. But if you have exposure to something like an S&P 500 ETF, even when an individual sector is going down, it's likely that the rest of the market's going to pull that up, as we've seen in the last many years with something like a VOO. It's the last 5 years, and not every sector's crushed it in the last 5 years, but VOO has because the broader market has. And while there is going to be phases where everything's going down, you're not just going into one risk. Like, you're not just in one sector that's going down. You're across many sectors, and you're going to go up and down as the market does. And also, an ETF isn't going to go bankrupt, so you're always going to have value there. If you're the company that you have the stock in goes bankrupt, you're down to $0. You lose 100% of that investment. Well, maybe one one company in the S&P 500 goes bankrupt, okay, maybe you'll lose 1/500th of your investment, or depending on their market cap, it's likely a lot less, and you're probably hardly even going to notice that in your portfolio. Rather than if you had exposure to that, owning even a full individual share or something like that, you don't want your investment ever to go down to zero, and going into an ETF is a way to not do that. So that's what I've got for you guys today. I've got a couple more things at the bottom here that I just want to ask you guys to please help me out with. Hit that like button if you've enjoyed this video, and if you want a free stock, use that link down in the description to download Robinhood. Gets us both a free stock, so it's definitely something you want to take advantage of when you're getting into investing. And also the Discord chat that I have linked down in the description. It's basically a chat room for other investors. As you guys can see right here, we've got some conversations going on. I'd love to see a few more of you guys in there. It's super easy to download, super easy to use, and it's totally free. So there's no reason not to do it. So I hope you guys have enjoyed this video, and I will see you in the next one. Enjoy.